Interaction of an antigen with an antibody will result into a primary antigen-antibody reaction. The characteristics of a primary antigen-antibody reaction is it is invisible and it is a rapid reaction. Now this invisible reaction, we can make it visible. That is what we call it a secondary antigen-antibody reaction. There are three different types of antigen-antibody reactions. These three reactions are, first one is called precipitation reaction. The second one is called agglutination reaction. And the third is known as complement fixing reaction. Complement fixing reaction. So these are the three different types of serological tests we are going to address. In order to understand these reactions, at least the first two have a basic principle involved. Let us try to understand what is the basic logic or what is the basic principle involved in agglutination as well as in precipitation reactions. What is the underlying principle of agglutination and precipitation reaction? So in earlier days, an experiment was carried out which is called a precipitation curve. So we are trying to understand what exactly is a precipitation curve. Very simple example. What was done is test tubes were taken, many test tubes. Okay, and in all these test tubes, in normal saline, what was taken is an equal concentration of antibody. So it has an equal concentration of antibody. So antibody is the same in all the test tubes. So antibody is added. Then what was done is antigen is added in increasing concentration. So you have antigen added in increasing concentration. This will have the lowest concentration of antigen and this will have the highest concentration of antigen. So antigen in small quantity, increasing concentration. And let us see what happens. So for example, when you have here, it's the antibody is higher than the concentration of antigen. So therefore, there are more antibodies and antigen is less. When antibodies are more, when there are more antibodies and if antigen is less, all the antibodies are not capable of combining with the antibodies. So that prevents the formation of them clumping together and having a complex of high molecular weight. You will not see any visible precipitate there. As you keep on increasing the concentration of the antigen, what will happen is here, for example, this antibody will combine with right amount of antigen and forms a kind of a visible precipitate. Because there is right concentration of antigen and right concentration of antibody. Let us see what happens as we proceed with increasing the concentration of antigen. There are more antigen molecules. So we have antibodies here, antibody here. There are more antigen molecules and each antigen molecule will try to bind with one of the sites of the binding sites of the antibodies because antigen is more. So here antigen will be more and antibody will be less, and in this case they are in the right concentration. They are in the right concentration. You can see three different regions that are being formed. If we make a graph out of this, that is on the x-axis you take the increasing concentration of antigen, is added, and this is the precipitate that is formed. On the y-axis you take, you will get a graph like this. Okay, and this shows the amount of precipitate that is formed in each of these test tubes. After 1 or 2 days of incubation, it can be precipitated out, centrifuged and quantified. So you will get this kind of a curve. This is called the precipitation curve. And in the precipitation curve, one region is very evident. This is the region. That is the region where maximum precipitate is formed because there is right concentration of antigen and antibody. This region is known as the zone of equivalence. So you have an equivalence of antigen and antibody that results into maximum precipitation. Agglutination as well as precipitation reaction follows this principle. Only at the zone of equivalence precipitation will occur.